and welcome to SRIRAM's IES. In this video, we are discussing about the index of core industries. Now, what is this index about? How many industries are considered as core industries and why are they considered core? What are the latest changes with the new base year and the change in methodology of formation of this index? Now, because it's a news and recently, day before yesterday, it was released as the new series of ICI. Once this happens, we all should be aware of the fact that this is something which is core to UPSC because it already has been asked in UPSC once. Now, once the methodology has changed across GDP, CPI, WPI, PPI and all other indices have been changing and updating this year, now it's pertinent for all of us being aspirants, we should cover this index also. Let's understand it in detail. The new index has now 9 core sectors. There is one more addition of new sector. But besides we go there, we need to understand why has it come up in the news, why is it popping in the news. First, that the growth in this month, that is the month of June 2026, the growth has increased up to 5% or by 5%. Now it means that last year, as compared to last year, the growth is currently about 5%, June 2026 to June 2025 to June 2026. Now we need to understand that it's a growth of 5 months and this is the highest growth in past 5 months. So therefore, now once we understand this, we need to also understand that this index and formation of this index is important because earlier it used to be 8 core industries. How many? 8 core industries. First is coal, crude oil, natural gas, refinery products, steel, cement, electricity and fertilizer. These 8 industries we should understand. Further, we should also understand that are these industries actually equal in weightage in this index? How much weightage is given to which sector? Or is there growth in every sector or there is growth in some sectors and decline of growth in some other sectors? Therefore, if you see the growth since February 2026 has increased and this time in the month of June, it's after 5 months that we are witnessing a highest growth rate of 5%. Understood? But it's all because the new base year has come into effect and this base year is 22-23. Same as wholesale price index. Understood? Same as GDP. Clear? Now we need to understand that 22-23 is the base year of CPI, GDP and also index of core industries. Clear? We also need to remember that why and who produces or who publishes this index of core industries. First, it is the Office of Economic Advisor under the Department of Promotion of Industries and Internal Trade, which releases the first index. This is the first index after base year change, which has released this ICI as per the base year changes of 22-23. Now, as per this index, June 2026 has recorded 5% year-on-year growth, the highest in the last 5 months. Therefore, the base year has been revised. Some more important points which we need to remember. First of all, this index measures the performance of core industries. Now, this is core infrastructure industries. We also need to understand that it is used to measure and estimate the index of industrial production. Why? Because this one measures core infrastructure industries and we have another one that is index of industrial production. We will discuss about that in some other video. The index is released every month. Index is released every month by Office of Economic Advisor under DPIIT. Understood? Clear? Now, you need to also remember that we have to keep these facts in mind in order to solve the prelims questions. Clear? Why the base year has been changed? Because there are changes in industrial structure, there are changes in the current production pattern and better methodology to be adopted. Like in CPI, we adopted the newer newer products. We expanded our basket of goods. We expanded the expanse of markets. We also included OTT platforms. We also included online markets into CPI. Similarly, we are changing the methodology. So in this video, we will also understand what is the new methodology which we are adopting in ICI. Clear? Now, what is the significance of this index It is better for us to understand it because it gives us timely indication of the growth in industrial sector, infrastructure industries particularly. It helps in policy formulation and economic planning, essential for tracking the infrastructure and supports estimation of IIP. Understood? Which is very simple. Now, earlier we had 8 core industries. We discussed them. The 9th one which has been added is iron ore. What's it? Iron ore. Remember it. Iron ore. Clear? But we also need to understand that from April 2026 to June 2026, the cumulative growth in this financial year is 3.6%. Last year it was 1%. Understood? Now, let's see which all sectors have witnessed a positive growth and which all sectors have witnessed a negative growth. Positive growth has been witnessed in iron ore. That is why it has increased. The growth has increased because there is one more addition of one more sector, that is iron ore. And the iron ore is highest in growth, that is 43% growth in iron ore. That is why the overall index has also increased. So changing the methodology will change the numbers also. Electricity, cement, steel and coal. These are the sectors which have witnessed positive growth. Why? Because they are, I would say, comparatively, as per these sectors, they are comparatively less affected by the external shocks of the economy. What do I mean by external shocks? The geopolitical turmoil, the geopolitical instability, the trade war and the war which is happening in Gulf. Clear? Which is happening with Iran, which is happening between US and Iran. So because of that war, because of global instability, the crude oil, natural gas, refinery products and fertilizer industry have witnessed a negative growth rate. Clear with this? One more thing which we need to understand. The major drivers of the growth has been iron ore and electricity. We witnessed that iron ore and electricity. Around 10%, around 44%. Clear? However, some sectors like crude oil, natural gas, refinery products and fertilizers, why are they witnessing a negative growth rate? What is the reason behind it? First, cooling or global crude oil prices. Second, higher imports. Third, slower exports of petroleum products and increased fertilizer imports. This is the reason of less growth in these sectors. Understood? One more thing we need to understand, that why is this ICI important for our UPSC exam? First of all, it gives us industrial production trends. Second, it gives us infrastructure development. It helps the economy grow. It helps the energy sector performance. It shows us the performance of energy sector, manufacturing growth, investment climate and GDP growth. Understood? Very simple. But despite of this growth, there are some particular challenges with respect to this industrial growth or infrastructure industrial growth. First is, we are having declining crude oil production in India. Why? Because our crude oil is dependent on 85% of the crude oil. 85% of the crude oil demand is dependent on imports. Second, falling natural gas outputs because of this only. Lowering refinery production because of this only. Fertilizer sector contraction. Yes, there is one such factor which is somehow linked to this. Urea, which is somehow linked to this. Continued import dependence and volatility in global commodity prices. These have been the critical challenges of industrial production. Clear? What are the government initiatives which we have taken in order to improvise the industrial production? First is PM Gati Shakti Yojana, National Infrastructure Pipeline, National Logistics Policy, Production Linked Incentive Scheme, Make in India, National Steel Policy, Commercial Coal Mining Reforms. For you, the work would be, or the homework will be, that you write these points and mention their goals. What is the goal, or what is the broadest goal, or what is the broadest objective of this scheme? Say for example, under production linked incentive scheme, we are trying to incentivize the sales and production. The additional sales will be incentivized. Simple. That is the one line or two more words which you will be writing in this sentence once you write it in your mains. Clear? Now, what are the major changes in this index? First, the first change is that iron ore has been included in the new core industry. But it's not just about iron ore. Why are we using iron ore? Because it's extensively used in steel production. It's significant contribution for industrial development. Clear? One more thing. When we discuss steel, the steel index, its methodology, its calculation will now be changed, because we will now be calculating the net production. Earlier we used to produce net production. Now we will be calculating the gross production of steel sector. The gross production of steel will be calculated, so that we maintain consistency with index of industrial production, so that these two sectors, these two indices show the same number in terms of steel production, both in ICI and both in IIP. Clear? One more change, that is with respect to coal, that earlier we used to calculate washed coal and coal middlings also. But now we will be only focusing on raw coal, that how much coal has been produced raw coal, because otherwise it was leading to doubling of or double counting effect. Clear? One more thing, the weightage has been reduced, changed, because now the weights will be based on the 22-23 base year. So therefore 22-23 base year weight will be normalized to 100, and then onwards we will calculate the other numbers. Clear this? Okay. One more thing, linking factors have been introduced. Means a linking factor has been calculated to compare the old and the new series. Overall linking factors which have been given or assigned to the total weightage of 100 is 1.47. These are the 5 points which I want all of you to remember. One, about the iron ore, second about the steel industry, third about the coal, fourth weightage, and fifth the linking factor. Clear? These are the major changes. These 5 points must be mentioned in your means answer once you answer this question. Clear? Sectoral weights has also changed. Earlier also the petroleum refinery products were having highest weightage. Now also it is the same. You do not need to get confused when it comes to iron ore, because iron ore has been given the least weightage, that is 2.69%. Sorry, the weightage is 2.69. Weightage is 2.69. Clear? You should not confuse it that iron ore has been added new. It has highest growth and also it should have highest weightage. No, that is not the case. Highest weightage is still with petroleum and refinery goods only, which earlier was also there. Clear? For UPSC prelims, we must remember these 8 to 9 points which I have mentioned over here, that there is change in base year, that who releases OEA, DPIIT, what is the frequency of this, it is released monthly, how many industries, 9 industries, which sector has been added, iron ore sector has been added, what is the growth rate, recently 5% and 3.6%, this is something which is going to change again and again, we do not need to remember it. Highest growth is there in iron ore. This too will change over the period of time. Once we go to prelims, we need to see that what was the recent most index, because it is released monthly. Yes, linking factor must be remembered, 1.47%. Steel index has changed from net production to gross production. Coal middlings and washed coal has been excluded from the index. Clear? These are some of the points which you must remember. Last thing, you must also attempt a means question on this, and here is the question. Now what you need to do is you attempt this question and send it to me. Send your answers to me and I will evaluate it and we will discuss your answer, that what are the problems with that answer. Question kya hai? The index of core industries serves as an important leading indicator of industrial growth. Clear, we witnessed that because it shows us growth in 9 critical sectors. Discuss the significance. We have already discussed its significance. It is mentioned in 2 slides. Of the revised ICI base year. Why is it important? Why is the new year important? Examine the implications of the sectoral divergence in India's core industries for sustainable economic growth. For sustainable economic growth, how much is it important to see what is the sectoral divergence? Sectoral divergence, you will see that those sectors which are having positive growth, those sectors which are having negative growth, those sectors which are dependent on domestic production, those sectors which are dependent on foreign or external factors. That is where you will see that how much sectoral difference is there, how much weightage difference is also there. Clear? Now, if you attempt this question, what you need to do is you can share it with me over here, and also if you want these NCERT based notes of all the NCERTs from 6th to 12th class. This has been merged in 120 pages. All the NCERTs plus their PYQs which were asked by UPSC in prelims and mains, all are compiled in one document. Just ping me and I will send you this document. One more thing, you can also watch this PYQ marathon of all the UPSC PYQs, and you can also watch this marathon where I have discussed economy from zero to end. This will help you in all the one-day exams. Whichever exam you are preparing for, if you need to revise all the economy, just sit with me in this marathon and you will finish it in 9 hours only. With this, thank you once again. I wish you all the best and thank you for being here. Jai Hind.